It's Friday the 13th, but don't be afraid. Hello, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is FairyGodfather. This is FairyGodfather Knits, where I talk about knitting, creativity, and design. And in my non-knitting life, I am a writer named Matthew J. Trafford. Today, I am bringing those two identities together and telling you how I made this sweater based on the book cover of this anthology, Queer Little Nightmares, in which I have a short story. Here we go. Okay, so here again is the beautiful cover of the book. So as I was thinking about what I wanted to do with this sweater, I just thought trying to put all of this together on one side would be a little bit too busy, especially with all the colors. So I decided to put the words and the hand on different sides. And because I was already doing that, I didn't feel like this had to be white. I wanted to keep the colors closer, so I decided to do it the same color as the fingernails. What I'm doing for that is, it's the monochrome DK from Earth Yarns in 6066. And this is the only one I used that wasn't Canadian, because I wanted to try to be as Canadian as I could be for this. This is the back. I'll just fold it under maybe. So this isn't blocked yet, and I'm about to block it. And so there's that color I was talking about. I'm really pleased with how that came out, the Nightmares. Up here, there's a little weirdness with the E that I'm going to try to fix with duplicate stitches, but I'm basically happy with it. The yarns, the purple is from Smallfish Yarns in St. Albert, Alberta, and the colorway is called Into the Mystic. It's a DK. And the other pink is from Artful Belle in the colorway Grapefruit. This is a fingering weight that I held double. So that's the back, which I'm quite happy with. So one of the questions people have been asking me is, FairyGodfather, did you chart that yourself? And the answer is yes, but not in that complicated of a way, or I should say in a very analog, old school way, which was the only way I could figure it out to do it. I have a few knitting apps and some knitting software. I think I have Pattern Genius and maybe another one. I have Procreate, and I was trying to figure out a way to just take a digital image of the cover and a digital PDF knitting pattern chart and to just make one transparent and overlay one over the other, which obviously is possible in the internet and the world of technology. I could not figure out how to do it. I watched a whole bunch of YouTube tutorials on Procreate. I fooled around with, there's a grid brush in Procreate. I thought I could make a grid on top of the cover image. It didn't work because it didn't really correspond to anything. So anyway, at the end of the day, what I had to do was, like I say, just go old school, just go analog, just use paper and ink. So I printed out an image of the cover. I had to experiment with the sizing. So I would print it out at a 75%, at 125%, and had to fool around with that. And then I took the chart from an existing pattern. The one I used was the Midnight Garden Sweater by Les Garçons, which was in this issue of Pom Pom. So you can find them in there. I really wanted to make that sweater. I only ever did the front. I did the front piece and part of the sleeve, and then I got waylaid by other projects. I don't know now whether I'm going to finish it, whole side story. But anyway, I used their charts, so you get all the charts. So I'll explain what I did. So let's say I was trying to make this letter G on a sleeve. I just traced it. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right now. So now that I have this traced, just ignore these. These are from the Midnight Garden pattern, but you get the idea. And maybe I'll get those off of there too. Now that I have this traced, I simply go with the pen and, you know, each square, I just have to decide whether it's going to be part of the G or the background. So I understand, you know, the lines don't go perfectly around, but that's what I need to do. So for example, this one only has like a tiny bit in it. So I'm probably, whoa, this is hard to do. You know, I would probably go like this. We're just gonna even that out into one. This is mostly covered by the G. I'm actually gonna go down and take that one. It's very slight here, but you know, I might want it to go out a bit. I might end up doing sort of like this. This is gonna be straight. You know, stepping it like this. So anyway, with each square, I just have to decide how it's gonna be, and then by tracing in this way, I'll go down there. That's how I was able to recreate the lettering on the back of the sweater. And I did the same thing with the hand as well. So that's how I was able to come up with my chart that I used to make this. This is what I ended up with. It's hard to get it all in frame. So for that, I used this Woe Nessie from, Smash Knit Co. They're in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And they had this cool like boucle fingering yarn. I'd never tried anything with that before, and I held it double. You can see, like, if I had done stockinette on both sides, it would have still been pretty nice, but I really wanted the texture of reverse stockinette. So that's what I've done here, is regular stockinette and then just reverse stockinette for the hand. Because this image relies so much on shading and shadow, which is just like basically impossible to get across in knitting, I'm not like loving how this looks right now, if I'm being honest. But I have a plan. I'm gonna try, well, I'll get to that in a second. And you can see here, like, I have a bit of puckering in some of these stitches, and I'm hoping that will be resolved somewhat with blocking. I don't usually block before I seam, but I'm going to this time. So yeah, I mean, I'm thrilled with this in some ways. I'm like thrilled with this edge and like how tight some of it is. It's a little wonkier on this side. It was just the way the stitches were, but I don't know. I'm basically still happy with it. What I'm going to try to do, okay, I'll just explain now. Why not? When I ordered this, I ordered 2 skeins because I didn't know how much I would need. And the second skein, I don't know if you can see, like, to my eyes, is quite a bit darker. Is that coming through? It's just, this one is a fair bit darker than this one. So what I'm going to try to do is use some of this darker Woe Nessie. I'm sure they're just different dye lots or whatever. And do some duplicate stitch around like this side of the finger and this part of the hand where my edge just got a little bit wonky, I think, as I was reading my own chart. I want to fill it in a little bit here. And then I'm even going to see if I can do a little bit of shading in these fingers, either with this or with like a black fingering weight that I have. I might just try to put in a little bit of the shadow. And then I'm going to use this Artful Bell in the grapefruit again for the webbing, which I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do yet, to be honest. I'm just planning to, I don't know, figure out some sort of stitchy thing. We'll get to it. But I just wanted to show this before blocking, which I'm about to do. And then for the sleeves, I just did a really simple slip stitch pattern. It's just slip one, knit one with the same Into the Mystic, and then another Woe Nessie in DK that was that same lighter color. And they're going to be short sleeves. Well, I'm hoping for them to be 3/4, if I'm being honest, but they might be more like just actual half short sleeves, which I'm also happy with. I love the way this turned out, and I like how it's kind of textured and reptilian almost as well, almost scaled. And I think it's gonna look really nice when it's all done. Fingers crossed. Here it is in just blocking, just soaking. As you can see, I block in my kitchen sink because it is what I have. And I just use dish soap. I just use a little bit of dish soap. There's so many different opinions out there as to whether the water should be hot or cold and how long to leave things in and so on and so forth. So I'm still kind of experimenting with different ways. I tend to go sort of a little bit warm, but then I add some cold water, so it's just kind of like just slightly warm, just like a bit above room temperature. And as I say, I just use dish soap, and I usually leave things in for at least 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so you can see that after the blocking, it has improved things somewhat. I just took it out. I'm not gonna pin them because I have to seam them anyway and do a bunch of changes. The back might be slightly longer than the front, but again, I think it's just all gonna work out. And I mean, yeah, like you definitely would know that those things were related. And I think it is a pretty accurate representation of the cover. So I'm excited for how it will hopefully turn out. And there are the sleeves. I still can't tell whether they're going to be right at my elbow or a little bit onto my forearm as I wanted, but I'm planning to add a lot of embellishments at the end, like a crazy amount, I think. So anyway, it should work out. So I have added a collar in moss stitch, and I'm just going to give the whole thing another block, just to like help everything ease together and relax a little bit because the collar's a bit tight. And yeah, there's just still some other places where I just think another block will benefit the piece. So here she is, just drying out by the fire. I'm really glad I did that. I think it got longer. I think the sleeves got longer. And the collar does look a lot better and more relaxed. So yeah, blocking really is magical and really does do a lot. So I just have to put the fringe on the other cuff. I can't decide if that's an appropriate amount or if I need even more. And yeah, I just need to do the fringe on the other side, and then it should be ready to wear. Good morning. It's just before 9, and it's a snowstorm outside, and I'm just having my morning coffee, and I'm just about to add the fringe to the final sleeve of my Queer Little Nightmare sweater. Before I can shoot the final video of the sweater. So I just thought I would yeah, show you how I'm doing this and let you witness me putting the final touches on the sweater. So a lot of people will use a little book when they're making fringe, and I found it worked for me. I just grabbed this one, Chi, The Energy of Harmony by Solala Towler. And I'm just gonna take my yarn and just wrap it around. That can be enough for now. Snip it, and then just snip along the bottom here. And then I have these nice, lovely pieces that are gonna be my fringe. And then all I'm doing is here on the cuff where I've done seed stitch, I'm taking a crochet hook. I'm going through one of the purl bumps, hooking on an end, and then just going through and just pulling this through the loop. And that creates my fringe. So I'm just going along doing all the purl bumps in the first row and then all the problems in the second row with a different color, and on and on and on. And that's how I'm creating the fringe. Hi, so this is a time-lapse video of me doing the first round of fringe. Of course, there is no sound in time-lapse videos. I wanted to kind of add in some music here, but I haven't fully figured out how to do that. I did try singing it like this. Doodle-loot, 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 doodle-loot. But doing it for a full 30 seconds was just a little bit much, and I wanted to spare you that. So anyway, this is the time lapse of me doing the first row of fringe. Okay, so I've done the first row around with this, the boucle woe Nessie, and that kind of gives you an idea of how I'm doing it. And I'm just gonna continue until I have this much. I might even add to this side. I only did like about halfway, like this is about 4 rows. I haven't decided yet if I want to do the whole thing and just make it huge or not. I do want to get a bit of this color in, I think. So anyway, I am going to be working on this for the next few hours, and I will see you when it's done. So I just wanted to briefly show you the inside of the sweater because I know sometimes people are curious. So you can see here how all the fringe is attached on the outside of the cuff, obviously to be puffy, not on the inside. This is the inside of the sleeve, which is just that simple slip stitch pattern. Here, this is the back, so you can see the intarsia and how the floats are caught every few stitches. These longer purple floats are from when I did the duplicate stitch to fix just how some of the letters were. But yeah, and then on the front, you can see how this is like classic intarsia with no floats. And then up here, when I was doing the hands, I did use floats, obviously, like for the nails here, and the purple floats across the fingers. And then all this pink stuff is just from when I added the webbing. I was just kind of freestyling that. And here we go. This is the final sweater, all seamed and embellished front and back, and I'm totally pleased with how it turned out. This is what it looks like. Okay, so I keep talking about how great the book is and then feeling weird like I'm bragging about myself because I'm in it. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it, or if you don't want to, just Google it. There's lots of great reviews out there. There was a review in Publishers Weekly. There was a review in Extra in Toronto. Quite a few people have covered it. So there's lots of info about the book out there if you would like it. If you do want to know a little bit more about my story in the collection, well, here, I'll let a reviewer tell you. In a macabre story, In Our Own Image, Matthew J. Trafford asks how responsible we are, not just for our actions, but the actions of our loved ones. In a disturbing tale of queer parenting, or something like it, the narrator Marcus discovers that his loving husband has been assembling their baby in a Bluebeard-style room. The little one is horribly fashioned out of the detritus and excretions of their shared life, dwelling somewhere on the edge of alive and dead. Initially shocked and disgusted, Marcus finds himself having to decide whether to embrace the unsettling creation of his partner. Though it seems ludicrous at the outset, the story astutely asks what love requires of us. Just to be transparent about financials and money and so on, I will not get any more money from the sale of this book, so I'm not pushing you to buy it as a way to create income for myself. Contributors to this anthology receive an honorarium. It was just about enough to cover the yarn for the sweater, so if you know what hand-dyed yarn costs, then you can guess about how much I got for my contribution to the anthology. But I just wanted to say that I'm not shilling it in order to make money for myself. I'm just recommending it because I think it's a great book. So if you like horror, if you want to read more queer writers, if you're interested in anthologies and the idea of monsters, I just think it's a great book to get, but I'm not going to make any more money whether you buy it or not. I hope you've enjoyed coming on this journey with me. I hope you enjoy the final product as much as I do. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like the video, please subscribe to my channel, please share with your friends, your fiber friends, your literary friends, your queer friends, your horror friends, whoever you think might like it. If you feel at all moved and able to support this kind of work, there's a link in the show notes where you can support me. I appreciate it so much. And I'll see you next week for a regular episode of the Fairy Godfather Knitcast. Cheers.